Um, it's been a pleasure and an honor working alongside Commissioner Title for the past 3+ years. The law was very deliberate in calling for a diverse set of commissioners, and it's hard to imagine two more diverse people than Commissioner Title and myself in terms of background, experience, and yes, politics. But we bonded quickly around our shared sense of commitment to uphold the letter and the spirit of the law. And although we would occasionally disagree about tactics, maybe more than occasionally, I always recognized that she was solely focused on getting to the right outcome. I learned a lot from Commissioner Title and had great admiration for her passion, tenacity, and courage. Above all, I admire her for never backing down from her beliefs about how to make this work for all of the citizens of the state. I know that I and the entire commission will miss working with Commissioner Title and will feel her absence, but I hope that she will take comfort in the knowledge that her legacy will live on and that she made an enormous impact in standing up a safe and equitable industry. I wish her the best in her future endeavors and am certain that wherever she goes, she will continue to be a force for justice and equality. Thank you, Commissioner Title.
Commissioner Title, I want to thank you for your service to the Commission, but also to the people of the Commonwealth. You've been an outspoken advocate and have left your mark on the initial legalization of cannabis in Massachusetts. Your experience and perspective have given me a lot to think about over the last 3 years, and as we've crafted policy and regulations, has really had an impact on the direction that some of our policies took. You're someone who is steadfast in your beliefs, and you came into this job, as many of us did, not knowing what we were getting ourselves into, but yet took the last 3 years to do the best that we can for the people that we're working on behalf of. I wish you well in the future, and I hope all the best for you.
Commissioner Title, I know that today is probably a bittersweet day, but I wanted to send my best to you and let you know that I have never worked with somebody who is as passionate and committed to their ideals as you are. We didn't agree on everything, but I learned a lot working next to you, and I thank you for that. I know that the work that you've done has led us to a place where we have established a strong foundation here for the cannabis industry in Massachusetts, and I greatly appreciate the partnership that you have shown. Thank you, and I wish you the best as you move forward with whatever the next adventure may be.
So I wanted to say a few words to say congratulations and thank you to Commissioner Chalene Title for all her work while she was a commissioner, and share a few memories. When we were appointed back in 2017, Chalene was one of the only people that I knew going into the commission. I had met Sean Collins before, but at that time he was not part of the commission. So Chalene was actually the only person I had ever met before. And then we went to work together as five strangers in Ashburton Place, trying to regulate an industry which is very complicated in a very short period of time. And I think of the five of us, in a lot of ways, Chalene had the most challenging remit, because trying to find a way to import social justice and social equity into this business where you don't have access to mainstream sources of capital is very challenging and an uphill battle, even at the best of times. Having said that, I think she worked very hard to do that with grace, and often having to talk to people who disagreed with her point of view or what she was trying to do. And she was very good about listening to people who disagreed with her, and then, gently talking to them about what was wrong in her view with their perspective and how perhaps they could find some common ground. And I think she pushed people to rethink some of their fixed positions on issues in a way that really put Massachusetts in a unique place and at the forefront of the battle for social justice, and trying to do something to rectify some of the wrongs that were done during the time period known as the War on Drugs. And that's really difficult, and I commend her for the work that she did. And she wasn't solely, as you know, commissioners, even though we all kind of had our projects that we tended to work on, you also had to work on all the other aspects of regulating the cannabis industry. So Chalene jumped into working on the environmental issues at the very beginning with me, and they are obviously very complicated. So in addition to doing the area that she was charged with by statute, she was also pitching in where she could to work on other issues, such as the environment, such as trying to help out farmers and assist small businesses run by a person regardless of their background. So although she's discussed in a way that is often associated with social justice and social equity, I don't think that's fair, because she did do a great deal more of that and contribute a great deal more than that. And I'm, grateful for what I learned having worked with her and the time that we spent together. And I'm sure when she does go on to other challenges, she will bring the same dedication, the same generosity of spirit, and a sense of humor to the job that she goes to the next. And I'm sure, we'll accomplish things that will change the world in some way. So I'm very happy for her to have new challenges ahead of her, and look forward to watching what she does next.
So I just want to offer my thanks and gratitude to Commissioner Title. It has been a whirlwind 3 years of getting to know one another, getting to know a brand new law, and all while building an entirely new state agency and bureaucracy. My takeaway is that, Commissioner, your passion and your energy is embedded into all of our regulations and all of our policies. And it's our job now as staff to maintain that focus on our mission and our values and to try to live them every day. Those policies and regulations are durable, they will last, they will survive, and that matters. Working alongside Commissioner Title and her fellow inaugural commissioners has really been a privilege of mine. And I hope when you look back on our agency 5-10 years from now, you know and you appreciate that your fingerprints and our fingerprints are on them together. So my thanks and my gratitude. Thank you.
Okay. So my philosophy has always been that you cannot see the future and you cannot control the future. You just control what you can control. And whether you can control this much or this much, you just focus on it and you do the absolute best with what you can control and what you want to accomplish. And I'm really happy to say that over the past 3 years, and 2020 in particular, I feel like I've followed that, but more importantly, that anyone who is watching can see that the commission, the commissioners and the entity have joined me in that philosophy. And that makes me feel really proud and grateful. And I pray that it continues that way. I have a few people that I want to thank because I often get credited for the work of the whole commission when in fact it's been a team effort. And I would really like to recognize some of the people that I feel have truly shaped the commission and its accomplishments. I want to start with Mary Alice Curley because she has put up with so much from me. I feel like I've made her life and job harder and she made my life and job easier. She has so much grace. She has so much professionalism, and I'm very grateful for her for the past 3 years. Shakia Scott, David Lakeman, and Matt Jancola have been with the commission since the beginning. It's great to see them all moving on in their careers, and I've had so much confidence in them being like the face of the commission to the outside, and they're wonderful. Alyssa Flores, Christopher Smith, and Pauline Nguyen Their work has been so important. They've been great friends, and I'm very grateful to them. Julie Johnson and her team, Samantha Doonan and Olivia Laramie, they're so kind, and they could easily say, I know more about this than anybody. They could be arrogant, they could say whatever they wanted, and instead they're incredibly humble and open-minded, and I really look to them as role models, and I have a lot of what would Julie do moments. I'm very grateful to them. Richard Zwing and Jess Zimmerer, who were contractors in the beginning and did as much or more work as me on the initial equity regulations. And I'm so grateful for them, for their expertise and their fingerprints being on this program forever. The entire licensing, enforcement, and investigations team, they're the backbone of this organization. They work so hard. Adriana Leone and May Wynn, thank you for everything that you do. Erica White and Celia Williams, making this a thriving, diverse organization and making people feel, I think, welcome and heard, especially this year through all of this chaos. Cedric Sinclair and Christine Bailey, I put both of their departments through a lot, and they were complete professionals. They had endless patience with me. And even when the announcement came that my term was ending, they both, when everybody else was asking me if I was okay, Cedric and Christine were both like, we know that your biggest worry is this project and this project and this project, and here's how it's going to move on. So I felt very seen by that and grateful to them. Other governmental contributions, the Supplier Diversity Office was really helpful. And I want to thank Alyssa Stack in particular. I gave her an impossible situation to deal with. She handled it beautifully and was very results oriented, and I'll be so thankful to her for that. The Joint Cannabis Committee, Chairs Chang Diaz and Rogers and their staff, that committee operated exactly how government should, in my opinion. They held hearings, they listened to the evidence, and they made really good decisions, and it makes me proud as a citizen. And a lot of the other legislators who were just really supportive of the commission's work and equity in general. And then somebody I've never spoken to and pretty scared of is Andrew Lelling. I will probably never speak with him, but he is the only person who ever got anything accomplished with respect to host community agreements. And he could have shut down the whole marijuana industry if he wanted to. And instead, he went after something I think that really represented the people's interest. So I'm grateful for that. That brings me to Commissioners Doyle, McBride, and Flanagan. What a ridiculous situation we were put in for women who couldn't talk to each other, who didn't know each other, who were completely different. It could have gone so badly if it were different people, but I have the utmost respect for all three of you. You have so much integrity. I'm so proud of the work we've done, and enormous pride for everything we've accomplished. And all three of you came through in just the best way, in your own way. And we don't have to be best friends, but we are bonded for life. So thank you, Commissioners Doyle, McBride, and Flanagan. Sean,
enough said.
You I can't put it into words because no one person should be under the pressure that you're under, plus the perfectionism that you put on yourself. And then you come through every time with words and with actions, not just for me, but for everybody. And it really defies the laws of physics and the universe. I don't even understand how you possibly do it. And I'm literally in awe of you. You are literally an awesome person. And the biggest compliment I can give you is that I feel confident moving on, and I feel relaxed moving on because I know that it's in your hands now, and I trust you completely. And last, Chairman Hoffman, there's so much empty dialogue that people say about people from different backgrounds, you know, working together and compromise and finding your common ground. And usually when people say that, they don't mean it. But you and me, we actually just did it. And when I came on and I didn't know you and I was just learning, you know, this person from Bain who was retired, I had no idea what to expect. And little did I know that my entire experience being positive here is credited to you as a person and as a professional, because you are so good at your job as a chairman. I can't imagine anybody better in the role. You communicate so well and so healthily. You listen, you take feedback, you care what everybody tells you. And there were one or two times where I felt like nobody in this world was caring about my well-being as a person, and you did. And the difference between having, 0 or 1 person caring like that makes all the difference. And so I owe this entire experience and making it through those times to you. And just as a professional, the way that you are action oriented and results oriented and get things done and listen and take feedback. When I asked you to not interrupt me early on, and you could have gotten so defensive, and you were like, yeah, thanks for telling me. And then you just stopped interrupting me. Little things like that, it just makes me so grateful for you, and you hold such a special place in my life. We've accomplished so much. I really never met anyone like you, and I just can't thank you enough.